The first time I saw Alex, they were sitting alone at the back of Mrs. Lowell's homeroom, staring at the ceiling like it held the answers to a test we hadn't taken yet. One sock was neon green, the other a faded polka-dotted blue, bunched unevenly around their ankles. A sequence. 3 quick taps, a pause, 2 slow ones. Alex, welcome to class. Their eggshell, with veins of gray. Like old bones, but the laughter died when Alex's humming started a low, wavering note that didn't match any song we knew. It wasn't tuneless, though. It felt like counting. This time, Alex tilted their head as if listening to something none of us could hear. I like the number 7, they said. It's safer than 6. Even Mrs. Lowell hesitated before forcing a smile and moving on. By lunch, the whispers had started. Asterisk, did you see their socks? Did you hear what they said about bones? I didn't join in. But I didn't stop listening either. It was the way they almost did. While the rest of us unwrapped sandwiches or peeled back the foil on microwave meals they would produce, a single hard-boiled egg still steaming faintly, or a handful of raw carrots with the dirt brushed but not entirely scrubbed away, sometimes an unpeeled orange, which they would roll between their palms like a tiny planet before setting it aside uneaten. No one commented, not at first. Middle school had its own unspoken rules. You could stare, but you didn't ask. Then came the day of the peas. Alex wasn't just eating anymore. We're arranging. 7 peas in a perfect line. 3 carrot sticks crossed over them like a bridge. Single great balance to top the highest carrot. Their lips moved silently, counting, adjusting. Then louder. Asterisk, 7 peas, 3 carrot sticks. That's the safe number. Asterisk. Mason, who had never met a boundary he didn't bulldoze, leaned over from the next bench. What are you doing, weirdo? Playing with your food? Mason smirked and reached out, flicking the top carrot stick. The grape tumbled, the peas scattered. Alex's hand snapped out, gripping Mason's wrist so fast I barely saw it move. Mason yanked back, laughing, but it was shaky. Chill, freak. It's just food. Alex didn't answer. They were already realigning the peas, their whisper returning, more frantic now. Asterisk, 7 peas, 3 carrot sticks. The lunch monitor, Mr. Dwyer, lumbered over. Everything okay here? Alex didn't stop counting. Mr. Dwyer sighed. Alex, what's going on? But as I passed Alex's spot, I saw if the peas were back in their line. The grape, though, was gone. And Alex was staring at the ceiling again, their lips still moving. He just shook his head and muttered something about kids these days before shooing us all to our next class. But the whispers had already started low and buzzing, like flies on a windowsill. Alex was predicting the future. Jamie hissed near the lockers, eyes darting down the hall. Mason scoffed, but his voice lacked its usual bravado. Yeah, right. Freak was just playing with his food. Then why'd he grab you like that? Someone else shot back. But I couldn't stop replaying it the way Alex's fingers had trembled over those peas, the urgency in their whisper. That's the safe number. Safe from what? Just staring at the contents like they were waiting for something to happen. Bet it's a code, Leah murmured, kicking at the gravel, like spies use. My mom says weird kids like that get recruited. But the bell rang, and the moment dissolved into the usual shove of bodies heading inside. Instead, they stood by the window, forehead nearly pressed to the glass. Mrs. Lowell cleared her throat. Alex, please join your group. This time, Alex turns low, deliberate. Their eyes flicked to the ceiling tiles, then back to Mrs. Lowell. It's going to rain at 2:17, they said. Alex didn't smile, just turned back to the window. But I saw the way Jamie's hands clenched around her notebook, the way Mason stopped smirking for the rest of the day. And me, they were staring straight at me. Then, erasers. Then one Tuesday, the stapler from Mrs. Lowell's desk, taped under desks. No one saw Alex place them. But I noticed the way their eyes lingered on the ceiling tiles during math, fingers twitching like they were tracing invisible lines. Then, one afternoon, I saw it. As I packed up, a soft click made me freeze. Balanced on its edge was a single yellow pencil. With careful precision, they slid it into the gap between 2 tiles, their lips moving silently. I must have made a noise because Alex's head snapped toward me. What are you doing? They like it up there, they said finally. The janitor's cart rattled closer. Alex hopped off the chair, folding their ruler with a quiet snap. By the time Mr. Dwyer poked his head in to ask why we were still here, I never told anyone what I saw. But the next day Jamie gasped during history, pointing upward. A pencil, no. 3 pencils jutted from the ceiling tiles above her desk, perfectly spaced. Mrs. Lowell sighed and fetched the stepladder. Honestly, who keeps doing this? Counting the seconds? Permission slips signed, chaperones assigned, buses packed with the usual mix of groaning and laughter. Even Alex seemed almost normal, sitting quietly by the window, their mismatched socks hidden beneath the bus seat. The Natural History Museum loomed ahead, its stone columns casting long shadows. Mrs. Lowell herded us into groups, her voice sharp with warnings. Asterisk, stay together. No touching the exhibits. Meet back here at noon. Asterisk, Alex vanished before she finished speaking. We found Alex 10 minutes later, standing motionless in front of the towering T-Rex skeleton. I edged closer, straining to hear. A security guard rounded the corner just as Mason let out a nervous laugh. Freaks talking to a dinosaur. Her gaze stayed locked on the T-Rex's hollow sockets. Alex, you cannot wander off. Staticky voice. Asterisk motion sensors and dinosaur halt, tripping nonstop. No visitors in the sector. You see anyone else here, kid? Mrs. Lowell forced a laugh. All right, let's move along. Plenty more to see. She gripped Alex's shoulder, steering them away. Well, as we left the hall, I glanced back. At lunch, Alex sat apart again, unpacking a single hard-boiled egg. Jamie nudged me. You think they made those sensors go off? I didn't answer. The black notebook appeared in Alex's hands the Monday after the field trip. It was unremarkable at first glance, a standard composition book, its cover worn at the edges. But Alex guarded it like a state secret, scribbling furiously during lectures, their fingers smudging the ink as they raced across the pages. At lunch, they balanced it on their knees, their eyes darting between the notebook and the cafeteria's flickering fluorescent lights. The peas and carrots were gone now, replaced by a single slice of dry toast, nibbled at the corners in precise, measured bites. I tried not to stare, but curiosity gnawed at me. What was so important that Alex wrote like the words might vanish if they stopped? Then, in English class, the notebook fell. Alex had been hunched over their desk, pen scratching in frantic bursts. When Jamie bumped their chair, reaching for a dropped highlighter, the notebook slid to the floor, splaying open near my feet. For a split second, I saw IT pages crammed with jagged symbols that looked almost like equations, but twisted. Upside-down fractions, numbers strung together in chains that made no sense. A map of the school, but wrong. Extra hallways branching where there should have been walls. A room labeled 404 where the janitor's closet stood. And below it, a list of names. Mason, Jamie, Liam, Emma, each marked with a tiny, precise check mark. My breath caught. Before I could look closer, Alex was there, snatching the notebook up with a sharp inhale. Their fingers trembled as they smoothed the crumpled pages, their voice a hissed whisper. Asterisk. You're not ready to see. Not angry. Not even annoyed. Just certain, like they were stating a fact. The bell rang. Alex shoved the notebook into their bag and strode out without a backward glance. But I couldn't unsee it the way the symbols had seemed to shift under my gaze. The way 404 pulsed in my vision like a warning. That night, I dreamed of extra hallways. And in every one, Alex was counting. The substitute teacher took the notebook on a Thursday. Mrs. Lowell was out with the flu, and Mr. Garza, a wiry man with a permanent frown, had zero patience for distractions. When Alex refused to stop writing during his lecture, he strode to their desk and held out his hand. Give it here, he said, voice flat. Now, for a moment, Alex didn't move. Their fingers curled around the notebook's edges, knuckles whitening. Then slowly, they slid it across the desk. Mr. Garza flipped it open, scanning a page. But his frown deepened. What is this? Some kind of code? Alex stared at the ceiling. It's not for you. The class held its breath. Mr. Garza snapped the notebook shut. You'll get this back when you learn to follow directions. He dropped it into his desk drawer with a thud. Alex didn't react. She just leaned back in their chair and resumed humming soft, tuneless, like a clock ticking down. By the end of the period, the notebook was gone, not stolen, not misplaced. The drawer was empty, the lock untouched. Mr. Garza tore through his desk, face reddening. Who took it? He demanded. Silence. Alex smiled faintly, eyes still fixed upward. The next day, Mr. Garza called in sick. Flu-like symptoms, the office announced, though no one had heard him cough once. And on Alex's desk, pristine as if it had never left, sat the black notebook. The pages were damp. Not wet, exactly just cool to the touch, like something left in morning dew. And the symbols inside had shifted. The map's extra hallways now branched further, the 404 label replaced with a single word. Almost, Jamie gasped. How did it? Alex closed the notebook with a soft thump. It came back, they said simply. No explanation, no smugness. It's just a quiet certainty that made the hair on my neck rise. The class exchanged glances, half fear, half awe. Mason muttered, freak, but it lacked its usual bite. I should have looked away. I should have pretended I hadn't seen the way the ink on page 37 now matched the pattern of the rain at 217, but I didn't because Alex was watching me again. And this time, they weren't counting. They were waiting. Alex's desk was empty on the last Monday of the school year, not just absent, erased, surface wiped clean, the chair tucked in with unnatural precision. Only a single pencil remained, wedged into the ceiling tile above, its tip pointing toward the window like a compass needle. Mrs. Lowell hesitated when she took attendance, her pen hovering over Alex's name. She exchanged a look with the principal, who'd appeared in the doorway mid-morning, his expression unreadable. No announcement was made. No one asked questions. By lunch. The rumors were already spiraling. Ran away, Mason said through a mouthful of sandwich. Bet their parents finally snapped. Jamie shook her head. No way. They got recruited, like by the government or something. I didn't contribute, just stared at the ceiling tile, where the pencil caught the fluorescent light in a dull gleam. It hadn't been there yesterday, would have noticed. After school, I lingered by Alex's locker. It was open a crack unusual, since Alex always clicked the lock shut with ritualistic care. Inside, empty, except for a scrap of paper taped to the back wall. I shouldn't have touched it, but my fingers moved anyway, peeling the paper free. A single line written in Alex's cramped handwriting, "They're ready now." The paper disintegrated in my grip, crumbling to dust before it hit the floor. Years later, at a high school reunion, someone claimed they'd seen Alex in a lab coat, murmuring to a wall of monitors. Another swore they'd enlisted special forces. The kind that doesn't exist on paper. The wildest story came from Liam, who insisted Alex had been spotted outside a decommissioned nuclear silo. Their socks still mismatched, their eyes fixed on the sky. I never confirmed any of it. But sometimes, when the rain starts at exactly 2:17, or when I catch myself counting ceiling tiles in a waiting room, I wonder, was Alex just odd? Or were they the only one who saw the game we were really playing? The pencil's still there, by the way, in the old classroom pointing.